22-year-old Dora Cisneros was a quiet, unassuming housewife living in the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas. A dutiful doctor's wife and mother of 5, Dora personified picture-perfect suburban respectability.
Being a doctor's wife, she was very well respected within the community at that time.
But then her daughter's ex-boyfriend was gunned down outside his country club estate.
Boom, he just took out the gun and shot, and Joey went down.
The ensuing murder investigation would uncover a devious plot mired in mysticism and Mexican black magic, and in the process, expose a vindictive mother's obsession. Dora Garcia grew up along the flat banks of the Rio Grande in the rural ranching community of Los Indios, Texas. Though born on American soil, Dora's childhood was immersed in Mexican culture, folklore, and superstition.
A lot of people believe in, black magic. A lot of people believe in the evil eye.
There's a segment of society in South Texas that still holds on to the old folk beliefs.
The daughter of a prosperous Mexican-American rancher, Dora was sent to Villa Maria, an elite private school in the neighboring border town of Brownsville, Texas.
Brownsville is right on the border. It's the southernmost tip of Texas, and the whole border region is very much a mix of the Mexican and Texas culture.
Dora eventually met and married a surgeon, Dr. David Cisneros. The couple settled into a comfortable home in the Brownsville suburbs and quickly established themselves as a part of the town's social elite.
Everybody knew the doctor, and everybody knew that was the doctor's wife. She was very well respected within the community at that time.
By the early 70s, Dora and her husband had 5 children. All 5 were eventually enrolled at St. Joseph's Academy, Brownsville's most prestigious private school.
It's a type of school that everybody wants to go to, but of course, when you're paying $600 a month tuition, not everybody can go to it.
Life was good for Dora Cisneros. But that life turned tragic in 1974 when her eldest son, David Jr., died in a car accident.
This is where her life changed. This is what affected her, and she went into a funk. And I think that, from what people say, is that she never really came out of that.
Dora retreated into the superstitions and folklore of her past. She sought the spiritual consultation of a curandera, a Mexican faith healer and fortune teller.
Curandera means somebody who cures or addresses folk cures.
Your neck hurts if you think that somebody's given you the evil eye. You run straight to a curandera. I mean, this is something that people do believe in. They did before, they do now.
Over the next several years, Dora also grew obsessively protective of her children, especially her youngest daughter, Christina. During her sophomore year at St. Joseph's Academy, Christina met and began dating a fellow student named Joey Fisher.
Joey Fisher is the son of a fairly prominent family in the Brownsville area. They live in a neighborhood called Rancho Viejo, which is a golf course community.
Joey was really, really smart. I mean, out of everybody, Joey was one of those students that probably never had to open a book to study.
In short, Joey Fisher was a good catch, and nobody knew that better than Dora.
Dora felt that Joey would bring to her daughter the kind of life and the kind of respect and the kind of culture that they were looking for.
He came from a good family, very bright, handsome. That would be, a mother's dream to have someone like that as a son-in-law.
The two teens made an attractive couple at St. Joseph's Junior-Senior Prom later that spring.
They actually looked really good. They went happy together and, had a really good time at prom.
But the teenage romance proved short-lived. In June, Joey dumped Christina, preferring to spend the summer unattached.
Christina took it very hard. It was one of these type of situations where you can't eat, you can't sleep, crying all the time.
Just as distraught was her overly protective mother.
She was very visibly upset and shaken by the fact that, Mr. Fisher had decided to terminate the relationship with her daughter.
Hoping to ease her daughter's suffering, Dora took matters into her own hands.
Joey would tell me the mother calls me and tries to get me to come back with Christina.
She did call him on several occasions, offering to give him money to stay with her daughter.
When Joey turned down $500 a month to rekindle the flame with Christina, Dora decided to go over his head. She called his father.
Dora called wanting to meet with Mr. Fisher in relation to trying to keep the relationship from breaking up.
She wanted to arrange a meeting at a nearby Burger King to discuss the matter.
Mr. Fisher expressed his concern in engaging in such a conduct and told him this is none of our business, let them, run their own lives, and of course she did not do that.
After money and reason failed, Dora took her troubles to an elderly curandera named Maria Martinez, the same Mexican faith healer and fortune teller Dora had turned to after her son's tragic death.
Dora Cisneros and Maria Martinez have known each other for over 20 years. And it got to a point where Dora would call her every day at about 7 in the morning.
For $5, Martinez regularly read Dora's future through Las Barajas, the Spanish tarot cards. But when Dora visited Senora Martinez in October of 1992, she had only one question.
What's going to happen with the relationship? Is it going to be over? Because I don't want it to be over.
She was trying to have the curandera cast these spells and everything to bring these two together again.
When La Curandera read the cards, she had bad news for Dora.
Miss Martinez eventually determines and tells Mrs. Cisneros that Joey Fisher was not going to get back together with Christina Cisneros.
And the cards, as Dora knew, did not lie. It was a quiet weekday morning in the country club community of Rancho Viejo when Joey Fisher, dressed in his St. Joe uniform, strolled out of his home on Cortez Avenue to start the school day.
Well, he's getting ready to go to school early in the morning. He pulls the car out of the garage.
He bent over to open the faucet there to get some water to the hose to rinse the window. As he stood up, the gunman was there.
2 shots rang out.
His mother comes running out to see her son bleeding and dying right in front of her.
What was once a quaint house on a quiet street was now the scene of an intense murder investigation. An investigation that would lead police from the posh suburbs of Brownsville into the superstitious world of Mexican folklore. Thursday morning, March 3rd, 1993. Police cars line the streets of Cortez Avenue in the quiet golf community of Rancho Viejo. 18-year-old Joey Fisher lay dead in his driveway, gunned down as he washed his car before school.
The body of the young man was laying faced up with a pool of blood. He had been shot in the upper part of his body, in the face and upper chest.
As Cameron County Sheriff's deputies secured the scene, Sheriff Alex Perez comforted Joey's grieving father.
Maria said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do. Please trust me.
The randomness of the crime puzzled investigators. There appeared to be no motive behind the shooting.
There was no apparent attempt to take his car, take anything on his body. A random street crime like that just doesn't happen, even Texas, even in the Rio Grande Valley.
Somebody driving by, somebody walking by, somebody stopped by the highway. There was a lot of different theories what happened to Joey Fisher that morning.
Aside from some spent .38 shell casings, the only other evidence investigators found at the scene was a yellow business card from a bail bonding company. It would prove to be crucial. After contacting the bail bonding company, investigators discovered that the handwriting on the card matched an application the agency had recently received.
The numbers on the card and the application so happened that they matched. The 2 and the 1 and the 4. They matched.
Police contacted the man who filled out the application, who claimed he had given the business card to a Mexican criminal named Daniel Garza.
Daniel Garza was basically a small-time criminal in Brownsville, Texas. Matamoros, Mexico. He's would travel back and forth across the border.
Investigators tracked Garza down and brought him in for questioning. It didn't take the cops long to break him.
He said, yo estoy hasta el pescuezo, which means I'm up to my neck. He had been involved, you know.
Garza admitted to hiring 2 Mexican drug runners named Jaribio Pizana and Israel Oliveras to kill Joey Fisher. But why would a low-rent thug like Garza want to hire out a hit on a South Texas teenager? According to Garza, he had acted at the request of a curandera he was seeing about some marital problems. Garza claimed the curandera would help him patch things up with his wife if he could help her find a hitman for one of her other clients. The curandera's name was Maria Martinez.
The curandera told him, no, I can fix this for you. I can fix your wife to come back to you. So he says, well, okay. The curandera said, I need for you to help me. I will fix this, but I need somebody to take care of a young man here. I need some hitmen.
Armed with a fresh batch of warrants, investigators went looking for the 3 new suspects, Maria Martinez and the 2 alleged hitmen. Unfortunately, the hitmen had jumped the border into Mexico and disappeared.
One of the unfortunate things about living, here on the border is that any time an individual from Mexico, and it happens all the time, commits a crime, then all they have to do is run back to Mexico and they're protected there.
But the cops were able to find Maria Martinez. On April 5th, a month after Joey's murder, police stormed the curandera's home and arrested her. Meanwhile, a few streets away, officers were raiding her shop.
I found a human skull there on the table with a candle on top of it. So evidently she was doing some bad spells for somebody.
Back at the sheriff's office, Martinez refused to talk to investigators. That is, until Constable Perez played a little trick on her. He said he had a photo of Joey, and he told her he got it from her client, Daniel Garza.
Maria was not very cooperative. I figured, how would the gunman know who to look for without having a picture or something like that? So I just made believe that I knew about the picture.
Thinking she was backed against a wall, Martinez admitted she had given Garza a picture of Joey Fisher, and then she explained why. According to Martinez, Dora Cisneros had offered her $3,000 to find someone to kill Joey Fisher. Martinez, in turn, had passed the money and the photo onto her other love-troubled client, Daniel Garza. If the curandera was telling the truth, Joey Fisher's murder was the result of a conspiracy set in motion by Dora Cisneros to avenge her daughter's broken heart. So far, all police had was the word of a known criminal and an elderly fortune teller. They needed more.
They arranged for a meeting between Mrs. Martinez and Mrs. Cisneros, where Mrs. Martinez is wearing a wire, and asked for some more money.
On April 6th, Dora Cisneros picked Maria Martinez up in front of her fortune teller's shop. Sheriff Perez and his deputies hid across the street, monitoring their conversation.
The meeting is progressing well. Dora is asking Maria Mercedes, does anybody know Güero? Does anybody know anything? Maria Mercedes is very nervous, trying to reassure her that nobody knows anything. They're having a conversation about the crime.
When Dora handed Martinez an envelope stuffed with $500, Sheriff Perez had heard enough. He gave the signal, and police cars moved in.
The first thing she says is that the money that I just gave her is a loan, a payment that I was paying her back. Nobody had even asked her about that, and she starts exclaiming and explaining that the money she just handed Maria Mercedes Martinez is some other payment and not payment for the death of Joey Fisher.
Deputies promptly arrested Dora and booked her on capital murder for arranging the hit on Joey Fisher. News of her arrest was met with disbelief.
Dora Cisneros, she couldn't possibly do something like this. She's so quiet, so small, and so frail almost. There's no way.
It looked like Dora's luck had finally run out. But all the cards had not yet been played. There was still one very lucky card in Dora's deck. In Brownsville, Texas, 56-year-old doctor's wife Dora Cisneros was about to go on trial for masterminding the execution-style murder of her teenage daughter's ex-boyfriend, 18-year-old high school senior Joey Fisher. Proceedings began on February 25, 1994, at the Cameron County Courthouse, 6 days shy of the one-year anniversary of the slaying.
Everyone wanted a seat in that courtroom. Everyone was trying to get in. It was packed inside and outside.
Charged with capital murder, Dora faced life in prison and possibly death if convicted. In his opening statement, the prosecutor described how the overprotective mother had Joey killed because he refused to get back together with her daughter.
The whole theory of the case was just an obsession gone totally bad. We were going to show the jury how a mother's obsession over a breakup with her daughter just totally went haywire, went abnormal, went malicious, and went criminal, and led to the death of Joey Fisher.
Dora's defense strategy was simple: prove their client's innocence by poking enough holes in the prosecution's theory to create reasonable doubt.
From the defense perspective, their argument was that the case was all circumstantial. There was no smoking gun to link Dora Cisneros to the murder.
On March 4th, Maria Mercedes Martinez took the stand. She had agreed to testify against Dora in return for a 20-year sentence. The courtroom sat spellbound as the 72-year-old curandera testified that Dora had pressured her into participating in the plot.
She basically looked at Dora Cisneros and pointed at her, said, "You're the one.
Bien muerto. Ella me lo dijo.
You're the one that wanted me to do this. You're the one that killed that young man."
People gasped, because it was, right there in court under oath.
It was a dramatic moment, but Dora's attorney seemed unfazed. He argued that the testimony of a Mexican curandera, an admitted conspirator, should hardly be considered credible.
To us, it was Maria Mercedes Martinez. To them, it was the curandera because it, takes away from her credibility. How are you going to believe a curandera? How are you going to believe a soothsayer? How are you going to believe this person that engages in this conduct?
But prosecutors weren't done yet. They put on another witness whose credibility could not as easily be impugned: Joey's still grieving father.
So when you have Buddy Fisher up there giving his testimony, and then he starts talking about the Burger King meeting and other situations, and you can just feel the head starting to look at Dora Cisneros like, "My God, you did do this."
And to seal the deal, prosecutors played the audio surveillance tapes that led to her arrest.
The tapes didn't lie. People believed what was on that tape. You can't really, mess with that too much. And once that happened, people then said, "She's guilty."
The jury agreed. On March 8, 1994, Dora Cisneros was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. That should have been the end of this bizarre case, but it wasn't. 2 years after sentencing, Dora's conviction was overturned on a technicality.
The Court of Appeals said that the jury instructions should have read Dora Cisneros acting as a party. Acting as a party was left out, and because of that reason, the whole case was reversed.
There were a lot of people who were very upset when that happened. This was just a travesty. They said, "My gosh, is some of this black magic still going on? How did she swing that?"
Dora was a free woman. She fled back to Brownsville to resume her role as wife and mother.
She kept a low profile, and she pretty well went into hiding. But people were upset.
Especially the prosecutors.
They had to come up with a plan B, and that plan B was the federal court.
State and federal prosecutors worked together to outline a plan to retry Dora.
I began meeting with FBI agents, asking them to look into the case and also to determine if we had jurisdiction to prosecute the case under federal law.
In this case, we had individuals calling on the phone, so that in and of itself gives the federal government jurisdiction. They were able to step in.
On February 25, 1998, after nearly 3 years of freedom, Dora was arrested again this time by FBI agents at her home in Brownsville. Armed with the same evidence presented in the state's case, federal prosecutors had little trouble in convincing a second jury of Dora's role in the murder. Dora was again found guilty and resentenced to life in prison.
Even to this day, I still struggle to understand and appreciate what Dora Cisneros was thinking. I mean, breakups happen every day. As we speak, there's some kid breaking up with a girl and nothing's ever going to become of it. That's what should have happened in this case. What snapped in Dora Cisneros' mind is something that to this day I still don't understand. I mean, there was no need for this.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the For My Man podcast. In this case, what started as financial pressure and a plan to rob a familiar place quickly turned into something far more devastating. It ends in violence, loss, and consequences that changed every life involved.
In Dallas, Texas, Tasha Dunnigan has lived a hard life.
Tasha grew up poor, without a lot of family support. Tasha did not graduate from high school.
With a lack of education, it's not easy for Tasha to find steady work. For the next decade, she moves aimlessly from one low-paying position to another.
She wasn't the type of person that could go out and get a job working as a secretary. So in terms of options on making a living, she was really, really limited.
It limits you because in this market, everybody, for the most part, employers are looking for qualified applicants that have a college degree or higher.
By the age of 34, Tasha meets a handsome, smooth talker named Henry Sanchez, who sweeps her off her feet.
Henry did not have a legal job. He was a low-level drug dealer, and at the time, he was primarily living off of Tasha.
And to pay the bills, Tasha takes a job at a local 24-hour massage parlor.
On the outside, it was a massage parlor. On the inside, it was a brothel.
It was a great opportunity. I think that you should at least take a shot at it.
Henry convinced her that she could make more money than either of them could in any other job if she just started turning tricks.
Tasha was a victim of Henry's control. This was a person who ruled with an iron fist. He was completely in charge. Whatever he wanted, she did. She just couldn't stand up to him.
She really, really just wanted to make some money and make ends meet so that she can pay her bills and do what she needed to do.
Despite the illicit nature of the job, it's the answer to all their money problems.
What is that?
She was making a lot of money every day.
Over 1,000, maybe over 2,000.
And so she would bring that home and give that to Henry.
I'm so proud of you. Imagine how much money you're gonna make in the next few weeks.
When you live with someone who pressured you to become a prostitute, it beats you down. She loved him. And no matter how badly he treated her, she wanted him to love her. So she would try harder to do whatever he wanted, no matter what he asked.
That's my girl.
But after only a few months, Henry's gravy train comes to an abrupt halt when Tasha is suspected of pocketing some of the cash she was supposed to hand over to the business for herself.
You do know I need to see all your money.
That is our money.
No.
The massage parlor's owner had a business of trust.
That is mine.
I clearly know it isn't.
He didn't want to give Tasha any chances. If he couldn't trust his employees, they were gone out the door right then and there.
So she was fired 2 months after she started working there.
It's a blow to Tasha, but she's more frightened by how Henry will react.
She was really devastated and heartbroken because she was losing the ability to make as much money as she had been making, and she dreaded telling Henry about this.
How are you?
He saw her as a meal ticket. She was someone to send out into the world and say, go make some money and bring it home so I can have shelter and I can have food and I can be with you when I want to.
What's going on?
As suspected, Henry doesn't take the news well.
They fired me.
You gotta be kidding me. What did you do?
Henry was in a fit of rage when he found out that she was fired.
You have to fix this.
After all, you know, she used to make a lot of cash that she wasn't making anymore.
What am I going to do?
I don't know. I need some time to think.
With their primary source of income gone, Tasha and Henry are back to struggling to pay their bills. A few weeks after the dismissal, they're in dire straits.
This is an eviction notice.
Financial situation had gotten to a point where they were about to be evicted from their apartment.
Pay the rent?
Tasha didn't have any place to go. Henry didn't have any place to go. They were very desperate for money.
You lost your job last week, and I told you we gotta do something about it. Did you go back?
His anger built and built, and he decided he wanted to get even with the people who took away their means of support.
No, it was my money.
Well, maybe we should?
No, we're going to do that.
Facing eviction, Henry comes up with a plan that will solve all of their problems in one fell swoop.
Henry has an idea that will get revenge on Tasha's boss and also get them the cash they so desperately needed.
We gotta make this right.
He's going to hold up the massage parlor. Because of the nature of the business, a robbery would go unreported.
Because it was such a cover for a prostitution house, they certainly thought that if something like this were to happen, they wouldn't call the police.
You work there, you know.
That, coupled with Tasha's first-hand knowledge of the operation, will make it an easy score.
During the day, or what?
Tasha knew the best time to go there. She also knew the layout of the building. She knew that they had no safe. And the way the money worked is the managers would keep the money in their pocket.
I mean, we would have to
But Tasha will need some convincing.
How would we do that? They have guns.
Tasha said she didn't want to hurt anyone. He kept pushing her and pushing her and pushing her until she said yes.
Tasha felt like she had to do what Henry wanted her to do. She wanted to please him, keep him happy.
2 or 3 guys I've seen.
Tasha tells him the place is like a fortress. You need an appointment and need to be buzzed in.
The way that it works is that they knock on the door, an armed manager comes and escorts them inside. There, they find a girl that they would like to have the massage services with. And then once the service is completed, then payment is taken.
The plan was for Tasha to show up. She knew that the door was going to be locked and tell them that she had lost her cell phone charger. And then once inside, she was supposed to go to the back of the building and open a back door for Henry.
What about the gun?
Once Henry is inside, he will demand that the night manager hand over all the night's cash earnings. He doesn't want to take any chances with the armed proprietor, so he asks his cousin to go along for the ride.
So what's going on?
He got his cousin involved so he could have one more gun with him. One more gun means more control over what's going to happen once they're inside.
They would have the manpower to scare or perhaps overpower the one manager and make him give up the cash.
That's the best way to go.
We're gonna get this, Tasha.
It seems like the perfect plan. But Tasha's not so convinced.
She felt compelled. She had no other choice. She was facing eviction. They had no money. Tasha hopes that if she does exactly what Henry wants, nobody's going to get hurt.
A few days later, the trio puts their plan into action.
Tasha.
At sunrise, Henry hands Tasha a .38 caliber gun to put in her purse, and they drive over to the massage parlor a few miles from their home.
Robbing the place early in the morning also would have meant that the manager on duty would have had all the cash from their busiest time on hand. And since all their cash just went into the manager's pocket, at the end of that shift, it all would have just been sitting there, ripe for the picking.
Once on scene, everyone moves into position. Tasha rings the bell at the front door.
The manager looks out the window and sees Tasha at the door and lets her inside.
Tasha doesn't miss a beat, even when she spots another girl at the desk.
Tasha.
The only other person who was in the building when Tasha arrived is her friend Maria, who is another worker. And she had just come off her shift, and she was in the lobby area waiting for her ride.
Did you need something?
Yeah, actually, I think I left my charger here.
Tasha says that she can't find her cell phone charger. She thinks it might be there somewhere. So could she please look around? And he says sure.
Outside, Henry and Timothy stand by for Tasha to open the rear door. Inside, Tasha keeps the lost charger distraction going, so she works her way toward the back. But there's a problem.
The night manager happened to look out a window, and he saw Henry and his cousin leaning up against a wall with their guns out like they were trying to hide.
And that's when Henry's perfect plan begins to fall apart. And what happens next will send Tasha's world into a death spiral.
What are you doing?
Unlock it.
They thought that this was going to be easy in, easy out. I think they thought that anything like this would happen.
Henry was everything to her. She was willing to risk everything for him.
The two of them together were double trouble.
Stay tuned for more of the For My Man podcast.
In Dallas, Texas, just a few months after 34-year-old Tasha Dunnigan is fired from her job at a massage parlor, she lets her boyfriend Henry Sanchez talk her into getting revenge via armed robbery.
There were very strong elements of control and dominance in this relationship. And so if Tasha really wanted to stay with him, there were just certain rules that she had to abide by. So I think that it really took her down a wrong path. I don't know if she would have normally done had she not been with him and in this relationship.
They're desperate for money, and in his mind, this is the perfect plan to come up with quick money.
With their plan underway, Tasha waits for the right opportunity to let her boyfriend and his cousin, Timothy Johnson, inside.
It might be in the bag. Think we can check
There were no customers there at that time. It was just the manager and one of the girls that worked there.
But out of the gate, Henry's plan starts to unravel.
The night manager had noticed Henry and Timothy outside, so he was suspicious.
Suspicious, the manager senses a security risk.
And to protect Tasha, he takes her to the back door to let her out safely.
He opens the back door and he looks out and he sees two guys coming toward him.
The night manager quickly slams the door shut and locks it.
When he turns around, he sees Tasha holding a gun to him.
What are you doing?
Unlock it.
And he says, "Please don't do this."
Is this what you wanted to do, huh?
And he begs her to back down, and she doesn't.
Instead, the night manager pulls out his own gun.
Tasha was scared. Things weren't going the way they're supposed to.
Tasha panicked once the manager refused to comply with her demand to open the back door.
Henry was waiting for her to unlock the door, and she was willing to do whatever it took to make that happen.
Even if it means pulling the trigger.
The manager is shot in the stomach and he falls to the ground. At that point, Tasha runs away to let her accomplices in.
Tasha is so rattled at this point because she doesn't know whether the manager is alive or dead. And so the only thing she can focus on is making sure that Henry and Timothy can get into the back door. And whatever she does, she wants to make sure that Henry's plan is met to the letter.
Tasha, did you shoot him?
Tasha's former co-worker, Maria, watches in horror as the horrific scene unfolds in front of her.
She's hysterical.
Where's the money, man?
You know, she's really upset. She has no idea what was happening, and she now is a witness.
Where's the money, man? Come on. We're not joking, man.
The manager is wounded but still alive and takes cover.
I don't know where the money is.
He retreated to behind a counter that was there in the business, kind of used as a shield for himself.
Come on, man. Just give us the money.
With money on their mind, the robbers stick to the plan.
Henry and Timothy approach the manager and ask for the money.
I don't know where the money is.
And the manager says no, and they start a shootout.
When the bullets start flying, Maria cowers in fear.
So she was a liability. Timothy takes her into another room where he shoots her in the stomach.
Tasha's worst fears are coming true.
Tasha must have been scared out of her wits. She had so many things coming down on her.
Meanwhile, the gunfight between Henry and the manager spins out of control, and Henry is hit in the leg. The would-be robbers have no choice but to retreat empty-handed.
The whole plan had gone south. Henry was shot. He was bleeding profusely.
Still hidden behind the counter, the night manager calls 911.
I don't think they're expecting the night manager to defend himself or defend the business as ferociously as he did.
Drive! Timothy and Tasha get Henry back to the car.
We gotta get him to the hospital. No, hospital, no.
Tasha gets behind the wheel, but tries desperately to keep her wits about her.
The one thing she was really scared of came true. People got hurt. The manager was shot, her coworker Maria was shot, and now her partner, her significant other Henry, was shot.
With Henry bleeding out, Tasha can barely keep the car on the road.
So they realized that Henry's condition was life-threatening, and it wasn't as easy as just running away. They had to seek medical assistance.
Tasha finds herself in a no-win situation.
No! Yes!
No, hospital.
We have to go!
No!
Henry needs medical help. He's been shot in the leg, but at the same time, they need to hide from the police. So Tasha has a decision to make. Is this about her own safety and Henry not getting the medical attention, or getting Henry to a doctor or an emergency room at the peril of being caught?
This was not supposed to happen.
We gotta get to the hospital.
Man, do not go to the hospital.
He thought it would be an easy in and out job. Tasha did all of this in the end for the love of her man.
Prepare yourself for more shocking twists and heart-wrenching turns. This is the For My Man podcast.
Tasha Dunnigan has to choose between saving her boyfriend's life or getting away after a botched revenge robbery attempt in Dallas, Texas.
No hospital. This was not supposed to happen.
We gotta get to the hospital.
Against her accomplice Timothy's objections, Tasha drives straight to the emergency room.
Tasha wanted to save Henry no matter what the risk. If Tasha didn't care about Henry, she could have just taken him home and said, we'll try to get the bullet out.
I told you not to come here, Tasha.
We had to come.
No, just leave. Go somewhere else.
Nurse, please. Please.
No.
When they get to the hospital and pull over, Timothy flees. He runs.
That's when she realizes she's on her own.
Timothy knew that once they got to the hospital would call the police to report a gunshot victim.
Doctor, please help
But Tasha doesn't care.
Tasha's emotional state at that point was primarily focused on getting Henry to the hospital and trying to make sure he doesn't die there in the car.
No, please help.
Tasha loved Henry, and she did everything for him, and he's the reason that she did this. So she wasn't going to let him die, but she also risked her life by deciding to save him.
Somebody tried to carjack us.
You know how long
To cover their tracks, she lies to the hospital staff, saying they're the victims of a carjacking.
She's a survivor, so she comes up with an explanation as to what happened.
But what Tasha doesn't know is that the night manager at the massage parlor has survived, and he's called 911.
When the police arrive, they find Maria dead. The manager was able to identify Tasha and tell them exactly what happened.
I locked the door.
The manager was able to give the police her name and the description of the two men.
This description is almost identical to the report the hospital has already provided the authorities.
Henry has a gunshot wound, and it's hospital's protocol that when something like that happens, they automatically have to notify the police department.
At the crime scene, they get a report of 3 people showing up at the hospital, one of them with a serious gunshot wound, and they put 2 and 2 together pretty quickly.
By the time Henry is wheeled into surgery, Tasha is already in custody.
She chose to stay with Henry at the hospital. She knew they were probably going to get caught. I think that also kind of shows how deep her involvement with him was.
Tasha's whole world comes crumbling down on her because she doesn't know whether Henry's going to make it.
Why would you tell me the truth?
Under interrogation, Tasha stands her ground.
My car.
Tasha tries her best to stick to the carjacking story, but there's too many holes in the story.
I don't know. We were carjacked.
But the news of Maria's passing definitely hits a nerve.
Maria's dead, and Tasha doesn't know whether she's going to prison for this. So Tasha's gotta be devastated.
Tasha was very remorseful about Maria getting killed. In fact, Tasha had talked about how good a friend Maria had been to her during the time that she worked there.
And police have one more ace up their sleeve.
When a police officer tells Tasha that the night manager identified her as the woman involved in the robbery, she breaks down.
They should have seen the crime.
Look, maybe I was there.
You know this.
After hours of questioning, Tasha finally admits to shooting the night manager at the massage parlor.
He drew a gun on me.
But claims that he drew his gun on her first.
She admitted to shooting him, but she said that she did it in self-defense.
I was going to leave out the back door.
And when push comes to shove, Tasha finally turns on her man.
This is all Henry's fault.
She points the blame on Henry because it was his idea, and he was the one who really started all of this. He was the one that convinced her of what happened and convinced her that they needed to seek revenge. And so she really blamed everything on him.
Like the night manager, Henry Sanchez survives his wounds and is arrested promptly after he is in stable condition. 2 days later, police track down Timothy Johnson hiding out in a Dallas motel.
The police had gotten a tip from someone on where he was, and that's where they found him.
A year after the robbery, a Dallas jury convicts Tasha Dunnigan of capital murder. She's handed down a tough punishment: life in prison without parole. Her boyfriend, Henry Sanchez, and his cousin, Timothy Johnson, each get the same.
This was really about her relationship with Henry. Under other circumstances, I don't know if she would have done this on her own. So she really did it all for him.
Tasha felt like she had to do what Henry wanted her to do. She wanted to please him, keep him happy, and he was just a very bad influence on her.
So many women get involved in bad situations. They do things for what they think is love, and they ruin other people's lives and they ruin their own lives.
Prison has a way of allowing people to think. I mean, after all, you have nothing but time on your hands.
And I walked to the back, he walked with me.
She was now far removed from that very domineering, dominating relationship that she was in with Henry. So she finally does come to the proper realization that he led her down a path of danger and a really screwed up life.
This enthralling story has us on the edge of our seats, and we cannot wait to talk about it. Stay with us as we wrap up this intriguing story at the end of the episode. All right, we've walked through what happened, and as always, we're joined by a special guest to help us unpack all, because these stories don't end when the facts do. Hello, everyone. I'm Jahi, and welcome back to another episode of the For My Man podcast, After the Story. This story is about Tasha Dunnigan, and I'm joined by my co-host, Crystal.
Hey, everybody.
And our special guest, Sean.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Hello, and let's unpack this. So I'm going to start off with my spidey sense at the beginning told me Henry was bad. It was bad news from the start. When did you feel like this story was about to go left?
I would say once they said that the massage parlor that she was working at was actually 24 hours, I knew that something was going to go down. I said, she can't just be working at a regular massage parlor. This has to be something different. And then when they told us that it wasn't actually a brothel, I just knew that this story was going to go very downhill very fast. Because when you add that in with the fact that Tasha had barely a high school education, it just is always a recipe for a disaster.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Crystal, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, Jaheem, we've been doing this a little while now. We know my thoughts. We know my thoughts. He was bad news because he was broke. Come along and then take her money. He was telling her to give her his money. That's how I knew it was going to, from the start. I said, bad news. You don't have no money and you were trying to live off of her where she barely had it together. So, yeah, that's when I thought, bad news. Why is she with him?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And also, I think when we heard that he was a low-level drug dealer, low-level drug dealers don't make much money. I think they were in the same position as far as education-wise, probably. He didn't have anything going for him. She didn't have anything going for her as much. I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
That's when my spidey sense started kicking in. So
low level was the word for me, because why don't these stories ever like with a high end drug dealer? You not only someone who can put me on a yacht or something. No, it's never that. It's somebody who can't even pinch two pennies together. But we can keep it going.
Yeah, no, we can. Men like that usually don't allow their women to get their hands dirty. That's generally why we don't hear them in this conversation. But, as we move forward, managing money in a relationship can get tricky, especially someone else's hard-earned money. When, if ever, do you think it's okay for your partner to take control of the finances? And has that ever gone wrong, if it happened?
Never, ever, ever. Ever, ever, ever.
All right.
That's my answer. Never, ever.
Never, ever. Never, ever. Crystal.
I
know your answer. Go ahead, Crystal.
I think there's a few cases, and the only case I can think of is where, it makes sense for this is if he doesn't even know I have another account. So sure, you want to manage the money, baby? Here you go. I already got something else over here. So you're not managing everything. You have to always think ahead of time. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I do think if you have that trust for your husband, which I hope to have, it's like, here's our funds. I know you're going to think about me in the process, but let's go back to the words, guys. They said low level drug dealer.
Yeah,
that means someone is telling him to do something and bringing back more money to another man, and then you're trying to take it from your woman. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I completely understand that. When you first heard what happened inside that massage parlor, what stayed with you the most?
I didn't think that Tasha would just go guns a-blazing so fast. I feel like because she was so much under pressure, she didn't know what to do, and she just knew she had to make her man happy. She just went in guns blazing, and that really threw me for a loop. I actually didn't know that the story was going to go in that direction.
Yeah. Crystal, how about you?
So I would definitely say it was more of the friend who was still in the place at the time. Like, I don't know about y'all, but if people are getting to shooting, tussling over stuff, I'm not hiding. They said she was hiding cowardlessly somewhere, which then got her shot. It's like, it's literally like, it's fight or flight, guys, like that shocked me. Like, girl, why aren't you going? Like, why are you still there? Why are you still there? Like, they're all fighting over whatever. You should have been going out the front door. You should have been somewhere else, I don't even think she had fight or flight, because she didn't fight. She was just there scared, and she didn't flight because she didn't run away. So I'm like, that's what shocked me. I was like, girl, what? Like, they're not even worried about you. They're fighting each other. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Yeah, I think it's hard to kind of say what we might do in that moment. When bullets start flying, it gets scary. But I also feel that it was going to go bad regardless of what happened, because I don't think they planned it the right way. I just don't think they really thought it through. The moment that they went in there, I thought it was going to be something that was going to go completely off the rails. So Tasha had worked there before and knew the space. Does that detail change how you feel about going into that situation? Like, all right, since you know the layout, would you think it'd be easier to do or harder?
I think it gave them a a confidence that they did not deserve. I think her going in saying, you know, I know the layout, I know how things are. Now they're feeling confident. We can go in there. We're going to take all this money. We're going to be in and out, and it's going to be an easy job. But because they had that confidence that it was going to be so easy, that's why it was not. So I think actually that was to their detriment, because now the people knew to look outside, and seeing her boyfriend and his cousin posted up against the wall with their guns out. So I think that they didn't have a plan, and it was poorly executed completely from start to finish.
Yeah.
Krista, how about you?
I definitely feel like it's like a room full of not very smart people, you know? And then you listen to another unsmart person. I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, but it's like, you know how to get in and XYZ, but you know where the cameras were. But of course, somebody with some common sense would have been like, I need to look around. Is there, you know, there's a camera outside. You had your man and his friend standing there in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You know?
Right in front of the camera.
And I mean, like, let's keep it real. Like, they both only had high school diplomas. And again, one of them can't even become I'm going to stick to it. You should have been a big baller drug dealer, and you're not. So again, you're not there. And then her, you know, with her lifestyle and how she grew up, and then, you know, finding this person and actually being smart enough, you know, it's clearly she has to be very smart, where you're giving somebody your money and then still wanting to be with this person and doing all these things. Like, it just, you know, definitely I agree that they got a little cocky, but it's also like, is the smartness in the room with us today? Like, you know, like, what is going on right now? And like, what do you think, Jackie? Like, I feel like, yes, they were cocky, but come on, like, you know, first off, this woman is doing everything you're telling her to do, and you know it don't make no sense. But you're listening to her. Mm-hmm. And we can go on about what happened at the end when they're telling her, no, we cannot go to this place. And she still did it anyway. It's just, you know, when Buddy got shot, but it's just like, she clearly is not good at making the right decisions, but they decided to listen to her all because she worked there. Have you ever been in the camera room? Have you ever been in this where security is? What do you think? Well, like, what, I mean, cause I don't know.
Well, it's weird to me because like going back what you guys said, there was a false insecurity with her working there. But to me, only working there 2 months is not really getting the lay of the land. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, you just started working there and you just were fired. Like, I don't know if you were there every day, but 2 months, you really don't know. Like, you should have known the security camera was back there and that they will be able to see it. Or maybe there should have been a mask, or maybe there should have been a bunch of things that could have happened, but you didn't. So her working there really didn't help much, because it wasn't like she went there to rob them. She went there to work. So she wasn't casing the place. She wasn't like writing things down like, oh, this guy does this at this time and all. Like, she had some details, but you didn't know that there was a gun there. And it's Texas. Everybody has guns. Mm-hmm. So you should have known that. Like, you going up in something like that without a gun, or thinking that no one else has a gun, is ridiculous.
And think about the business that they do, like what they actually are doing. You didn't think they'd be ready to defend themselves. You didn't think that you didn't get the lay of the land. You did not know the type of people you were trying to steal from, all because, you know, you're saying we have to give them our money. And then, you know, you're assuming that they stashed money somewhere. You didn't even know for real.
And even that, like, you're robbing from a massage parlor that is a brothel. These are not upstanding people. These are criminals themselves. Like, so what? Let's say you did get the money. They saw you. What's going to happen when you get away? They're coming after you. With multiple people involved, do you think this came down to individual decisions or the influence of the people around them? And Sean, if you want to go first.
I don't think that Tasha made any decision for herself since the beginning of the relationship. Yeah. She didn't decide to sell what she sold at the brothel. She didn't decide to work there. She didn't decide to give her man the money. I don't think that she literally made any of the decisions. Yeah. So I think everything was taken away from her, and she was just going off of instincts. But I wanted to also point out the fact that these were people who at one point were making a couple of thousands of dollars a day while Tasha was working at the brothel, and she got fired, and within weeks they were getting evictions. So to me, that meant all that money that y'all were making just went in one way and right back out. Mm-hmm. Every single dollar. They didn't keep anything, and they didn't have any kind of plan on how they were going to grow their money. So it was always going to be this exact disaster.
Yes, and that's a great point that I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad you brought that up, Sean. Crystal, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I definitely agree, but I'm going to take it a little bit further. I definitely think it was an individual decision. She made the decision to not make any decisions, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you literally, and I understand, we see it, we've seen it, right? When you come up in a certain upbringing, when you're already in a space where you feel like you can't get out. And then now you meet someone who, honestly, I don't even, because there's not like too many details that, in the show where we were listening, where it said that, he was super handsome and charming and this and this. It seemed like as soon as she met him, he started using her. So
immediately.
It doesn't, it really just shows her level of not wanting to take responsibility for her life. And then she allowed herself to do things and allowed someone else to tell her what to do. But again, the only decision she really made was to pull that gun out when that door closed. The guy didn't even know it had anything to do with her.
Yeah.
He was trying to get her out of there.
Yeah, he was trying to protect her.
Yeah, he was trying to save her.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that could have been the moment she said, you know what? Let me exit stage right. Maybe this is my way out. Mm-hmm. But you didn't do that. You pulled the gun out. You told him to do it. And he even told you, this is not what you want to do. And trust me. I don't know if I'm not trying to tell y'all about my life now, but if anybody pulls a gun out on you and they say, this is not what you want to do, I would be terrified. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that would scare me too. It's like, there's a gun in your face. You telling me what to do?
Exactly. You see the gun? That man said, he gave you an option then, and you still chose to do something for this man who eventually you gave up
pretty quickly.
So it's very much interesting because it's like, even though, yes, she did not make majority of her decisions, the biggest decisions she made for her life were the ones that now put her in jail forever. She's never getting out.
Never.
And then her friend died. She actually said how much she liked that girl.
For all the 2 months that she's known her.
Right. Friends forever. BFF.
Yeah.
I think brothels bond people. So I'm sure that's how they got so deep.
I could see that. And Chris, you said this. She will never have to worry about anything else again because she's going to be in jail for life. All three received life sentences.
All three
of them. Do you think that outcome was fair, or should their roles have been viewed differently?
That's always a tough question. And the reason for it is because someone did die, right?
Yep.
But I think do I think all of them should have gotten capital murder? No. Now, I do think if we're really looking at, rehabilitation or whatever, or the reason why they even send people to jail in the first place, oh, buddy, I feel like I don't even know why he even involved himself in that, because not only did he never pull the trigger, didn't even step foot in the place. And he got a capital murder charge, but it's because he was, of course, in the wrong place, wrong time. He told her, do not take him to a hospital. She did it anyway. He literally was with two complete idiots. And please excuse me for not calling them very smart, but all of you guys did it to yourselves. And then the other guy, he didn't have to pull the friend into the room and shoot her in the stomach. But yes, he should have definitely gotten that. The unfortunate part is she had room and time to make a good decision. And it's unfortunate because I do kind of wish that when you go to court, and of course they hear your testimony and everything, that there are other things that can be done as far as like, you know, maybe you have to get a certain amount of counseling services, and you have to do community service, and you still have to spend some jail time or whatever, so that it actually can help shape you. Because, you know, she was still young, but she had an upbringing that there's literally some people feel like there's no way out of. And of course, only having your high school diploma, we don't even know how hard it was for her to get that. And, you know, just not ever being in a space where you could just be and figure out life and things of that nature. You had to just go in, try to start working, figure things out. And then you're still young. You still want to be in love. You don't want to do things on your own. Her family already sucked. So, you know, you kind of it's just tough. Now, when she made the decision to pull the gun, yes. I think there should have been a different charge? Yes. I don't think she should have got capital murder. Should she have gotten maybe a parole sentence? Possibly. But yeah, I don't think they all should have got capital murder.
Sean, how do you feel about this?
I feel like you a little too light, Crystal. Like you talking about probation or what? No.
I agree.
All in jail. Maybe not capital murder. That's a little. It's a lot. But my girl Tasha came in there with the gun out. Like she has to go. She has to go to jail. She has to. And I'm a little confused on who shot the friend that worked at the brothel. Was it
actually Timothy
friend Henry, or was it the cousin?
The cousin Timothy.
Oh yeah, so they all need to go to jail.
Timothy shot the friend. Henry was in a shootout with the manager.
Okay.
And Tasha shot the manager in the stomach.
Okay, I thought the cousin Timothy didn't do anything.
No, Timothy shot Timothy.
Oh yeah,
took Marie in the room and shot her.
Put them all in jail.
I take back what I said.
Timothy and Henry can be cellmates, and they can talk about how dumb of the plan that was for the next 50 years. They need to all go to jail.
True.
So I am surprised that they didn't get the death penalty. And my reason, and not because of the crime or anything like that, because of the state that they're in. They're in Texas. Mm-hmm. This was done during a robbery. This was a planned robbery. Someone died. And when you have these murder cases in certain states, if you are involved in any way, shape, or form in the crime that took place, that took someone's life, you are also charged with that murder because you are part of that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, how the law is written in Texas, there is no way for her to get out of that capital murder charge. There's no way for any of them to get out of any of the murder charges. So I'm surprised that it was just life in prison. Not to say that they should have gotten life, but it's just knowing that certain laws, in certain places, that can happen. So I personally believe all of them got the time that they should have probably gotten. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. One person is shot, one person is dead, and none of this had to happen, and y'all got away with nothing. And that business, whether good or not, was probably ruined. So a lot of people probably lost it.
They opened that brothel back up in 2 days. I don't think the business was ruined, but they did put a hiccup in it.
Clean the floors. We got to open up tomorrow.
Possibly. That definitely could have happened too. But a lot of people's lives were drastically changed by all of their decisions. So I think they got what they got, unfortunately. Some choices may not seem significant at the time, but they can completely change everything later on. And what started as a plan became something no one could take back. lives lost, lives forever altered, and a reminder that sometimes it only takes one decision to change everything. If this episode stayed with you, be sure to follow the For My Man podcast so you never miss a new case. Listen now at urban1podcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And again, I'd like to thank Crystal for always being here with me, and Sean, our special guest. I appreciate you coming. It's been great having you.
Stay safe out there, ladies.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And we will see you in the next episode.